Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi Showbie on the 10th of March 2021. It's a teal jumper tonight for those of you in the chat room who've been thinking, what colour jumper is he wearing? What colour is it tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Is he going to be wearing his tank top? Is he going to be wearing a big jumper? Or is he got a waistcoat, coat and tie, pinstripe suit? Or has he got one of those flasher Macs? I must get a flasher Mac, actually. I'd look much flasher in a Mac. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome along to another Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi Showbie. Very sad today. Very, very sad, I have to say. Oh, blimey, I was in tears when I heard the news that Piers Morgan had left the Good Morning Britain. Oh, I couldn't contain myself. Anyway, never mind. There's always a ray of sunshine over the hill. Yes, they should have given me the job. But I don't suppose they will. Anyway, never mind all that. I don't want to go careering up to London first thing in the morning. It's the last thing I want to do. Anyway, welcome along. It's very nice to see you. Lots of people out there in the old Vobesphere, which is fantabulous. The lovely Julia and the lovely Judith is out there with their blue spanners banging people on the head who have been naughty or saying daft things. And if you say too many daft things, we also have a 1,000-word keynote file somewhere loafing about down in Eric's thing, and every time he spots anything a bit dodgy, he rattles it on the head. Welcome about and all the other words that one was going to say, but I don't know 1,000 words. I was questioned that by Colonel Cragratty. I'll have you, mate. I'll have you. I'm going to put you in a wet, steamy room with some people with the Sex Pistols. Yes, Steampunk. Anyway, nice to see you. Shall we do a bit of a roll call? I think we... blimey, there's a lot of people here tonight. So, hello to the lovely Julia, to Stephen, if there's a Stephen out there, to Station Masters Choice, to Tall Podge Rog, to Clive Waterfall, to... They were early, and then nobody came in after that for a while. Kerry Baldwin, hello to you. Robert Brailsford, Colonel Cragratty. I've already said that, haven't I? Lovely Julia, Tall Podge Rog. You see, this is the trouble when I'm trying to... Alan Sandel, Alison O'Brien, Bonnie H, and Albion 88. Ray, I'm glad you're there, Ray, because I've got a note here. Brian Pollard watched the Friday show. He was so impressed with your wonderful keyboard thing and the tune, House of the Rising Sun. And he emailed me and he said, do you know what, Richard? That is the best rendition of House of the Rising Sun I've ever heard. Is it possible? Can you ask Raymond if it's possible to have a copy of that? So I said, yeah, of course. So here am I, Raymond. Is it possible that Brian Pollard could have a copy of it? I don't know how to do that, how to get a version to him, but maybe you could email him if there's an MP3 or I was guessing it's an audio version. Can you record audio, you think? Can you give him a House of the Rising Sun so he can play it to his heart's content? Let me know, richard@vobes.com, and I will pass the message on. So that's very nice. Sorry, Brian, if you're watching, that I didn't get round to your email. I have actually emailed you today, but sometimes it does take me a while, ladies and gentlemen. I so apologise for that, to get to your emails. The lovely Julia knows that I'll get in from filming and I'm editing and I'll have a quick chat with her. And then I'll say, oh, my God, there's so many blooming emails to get through and so many comments and all of this, which is great. You know, it's nice to be popular, but obviously I need a secretary. Anyway, so I've managed to do that bit. Steve Baker, hello to you. Kathy B, nice to see you also. Jeffrey Harrison, which is grand. Who else have we got down there? Sean Ford and Clive Waterfall. Daniel Watkins. This is a task. Kate Evans. How are you, Kate? Are you still in hospital? Have you got out? Have they done anything? Have they removed your legs, taken an arm off? When I was in hospital, they very kindly took out my tonsils and my adenoids. I had no problem with my adenoids, but they took them out for good measure. Mind you, I was 10 years old. I didn't even know I had them in. I've never missed them. Anyway, Robert Brailsford is also out there. Who else have we got there? Ford Nutt, good to see you. Mark Burgess, which is lovely. Jeff Sussex, which is fantastic. Ed Loud. Mark Burgess, I think I mentioned that. Zoom Coco, hello to you. David Keel. David Evad and Clive Waterfall, I'm sure I mentioned. Glenn Horton, hello Glenn. Thank you very much for your recent donation. And to everybody who's donated, by the way, thank you so very much. And if I don't actually get around to thanking you, just email me and say, Richard, you never thanked me for that tuppence halfpenny little halfpenny stamp that I sent you to help you on your way. Please just let me know, because I do get a bit bombarded, and sometimes, you know, I do it all by hand. There's no manual automatic. There's no IE in this. Well, there's no intelligence in any of this. So sometimes this happens and I do just miss a few things. So thank you ever so much. Just know that I am incredibly sincere. And I mean that most sincerely, folks. Who said that? Who said that? I mean that most sincerely. Opportunity knocks. Oh, that's giving it away now, isn't it? Never mind. Robert Croser, hello to you. Andrew Norris, very nice to have you. Jackie Lowe, lovely to see you. Ernie Samet, Daniel Watkins, I think I may or may not have said that, I can't remember. G Ramps is out there. And Ron Langley, Steve Baker, Sensible Paul, David Goulden, and Kate Evans, I've just said. Mr. Connor, Jack Benny. I don't think it was Jack Benny. It was Green Shield Stamps. No, Huey Green. Well done there. Ed Wolf, hello to you, who says, is it Hugh Laurie? No, Huey Green. Max Gra. I want to tell you a story. Oh, dear. Hello, Richard. Dean Coop. Hello, Dean. How you doing in Tunbridge Wells? Not Tunbridge Wells. You're in not in Tunbridge. Don't tell me. Not Wisborough Green. You're in that place between Tunbridge Wells and the one that you drive down the hill. There's a Morrison's on the top of the hill. I know where you are. I can't remember the name of the sodding town. But anyway, I hope you're doing very well where you are. You've won £1. Big ching. Daniel Watkins. Twice, Richard. Thank you. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. If I haven't mentioned your name, let me know. Write it on the back of a £10 note and send it to me, and I will make sure I do it next time. Mark Dolly McLeod, Campbellwick Green. No, Huey Green, you nana. Cheers, everybody. I'm just having a little slurp of coffee. Open the box or take the money, says Audrey Forbes. Nice to see you too. East Grinstead. No, not East Grinstead. Begins with R, doesn't it? Is it begin with R? I can't think. What is the name of the place? Or W? I'm sure it was R or W. Or maybe it sounds like R or W. You know what it is. It's on the A26. On the A26, a bit further south from Tunbridge Wells. You have to go through it and you go down a hill. And I can't remember the name of the sodding place, but it's a very nice place. Mike Stevens, I'm invisible again. Are you invisible? Why are you invisible? What have you done? Are you wearing an invisibility cloak? Harry Hill on that mug? No, it's not. It's his brother, Over the. Yes. That's his wonderful brother who's a little older than him. Over the Crowborough. There we go. Crowborough begins with an R and has a W in it. Doesn't that? It has both letters, actually, but not at the beginning. Yes, Crowborough. Robertsbridge. No, not Robertsbridge. Stop being silly now. Yes, we can see you, Mike. I don't know why you're invisible. So that's all good. Is there a West Grinstead? Yes, there's an East Grinstead and a West Grinstead. West Grinstead. I made a video at West Grinstead. Go and have a look at it. Not now, not this second. West Grinstead, I did a walk around West Grinstead Station. Put Bald Explorer West Grinstead into YouTube. Julia will do it and add the link. I'm just telling her what to know. She might be washing the baby at the moment. Rowbridge. No, not Rowbridge. No. Hi, Mike. Hope you're well. There we are. You see, you're a well-loved member of the community. We haven't seen much of you recently, mind you. I hope that's not because I had to sidetrack one of your videos. I hope you didn't take offence at that. But we do have Eric is head of censorship down here. Absolutely, he's the you're the boss, aren't you?
That's right, sir. I have to make sure everything is cleared.
Exactly. It's actually him who fired Piers Morgan. He was had enough.
Oh, I just had enough of him, sir. I just didn't like him.
Don't blame you, mate. I don't blame you. Although I do think that was a bit unfair. I mean, he walked out, so it was a bit much. But I was, whilst I don't really agree with Piers Morgan, especially not this COVID thing, I do think that everybody has the right to an opinion, don't you? Everybody should have a right to opinion, even if you disagree with them. I say this so many times, and everybody ignores me. They say, Richard, shut up. We don't want to hear your opinion. But, oh, right, fair enough. I'll just get back to the normal stuff that I do. Michael White says, hi, Rosalind. Hello, Rosalind. Nice to see you. Daniel Watkins says, sing, Julia, sing. And Tall Podge Rog says, Richard Vobes, is Eric what is Eric having for supper? Eric is he's having, I'll tell you what he's having for supper, cauliflower cheese. It's the same as what I had. I made some homemade cauliflower cheese, which was very nice. Thank you very much. Sean James, in fact, Cameron, he says, how's the hearse? How's the hearse? Evening, how's the hearse? I don't know what you're talking about. The hearse? What are you on about? By the way, thanks to Sean James Cameron, who rang me up in a bit of a panic the other day and said, did you know you YouTubers, and himself, because he is one, check out his channel, the Sean James channel, multi-named, of course. He said we're all going to get taxed in America now. The Americans are going to start taxing our YouTube channels, which is true. And I had not heard any of this, and there was no reference to it whatsoever. And I put the phone down, and the next thing I go to YouTube to upload a video, and there at the top in tiny letters is saying, make sure you submit your tax codes and all of this, otherwise we're going to tax you. And I thought, this is obviously a way for them to pay for their lockdown and COVID stuff in the United States. No doubt we'll be doing it soon because, of course, all the YouTubers out there are multi-millionaires. It's the profession to be in, you know, apparently. Somehow, I must have missed the memo of how you actually become a multi-millionaire. But never mind all that nonsense. Ed Loud is out there as well. Hello, Ed. Nice to hear you. He says, yes, everyone's entitled to opinion, and when I'm in charge of the whole world, I will welcome the opinions of those who disagree with me right before I banish them to a deserted island. Good for you. Good idea. That's it. Kate Evans says, no, they haven't removed my arms and legs. Thank God for that. Whew. Otherwise, you won't be able to cuddle up those lovely little hamsters and the Bengali tigers that you have in your little thing, your animal hospital thing. Albion says, you look rich. Do I? Do I? Thanks. Actually, I am rich. I'm Richard. I'm hard at being rich. That's how it works in my world. Oh, yes. Never mind all that nonsense. And Bonnie says Piers was the guy who sanctioned listening in on murdering girls' voicemail. Yes, that's back to the times when he was on the I can't remember what they called it now, the cell phone listening in thing. I mean, he's a funny old bloke, and without being funny, he's an old bloke. A lot of us are old. Let's not go down there. Anyway, I'd only mention that because it was a bit of a laugh. What's with expiration dates? Is YouTube having a clear date? What, Mark Burgess? What's with expiration date? What do you mean expiration? Is this another problem that I need to look at? Is it that if a video lasts online for a certain amount of time and then woof, it's taken off? Is that how that works? Is that what that's about? I did think. Do you know what I thought the other day? I thought I might download my earliest videos, my first year's worth of videos, download them, put them on a hard drive, and then just upload them again. Because most people, A, would have forgotten them, B, they never look at them, and I probably get now more views looking at those, the first ones that I shoved up and I got like a couple of hundred views. I probably get a couple of thousand views. Mind you, people would say, he's gone downhill a bit, hasn't he? He's gone down, but he's younger. He's much younger. I'll give him that. Station Master's Choice says, I don't do YouTube for money. It will become a subscription thing next. Well, they're already trying to get you to... excuse me, there's a belch that came out. They're already trying to... Do you not like the way that on YouTube, there you are, you're watching it, and then up comes an advert saying, sign up to our Prime version and you won't get these interruptions. And I just think to myself, well, if you didn't interrupt us, we wouldn't get those interruptions, you nanas. But I suppose that's part of the thing, is just interrupt you enough times to make you submit. YouTubers make lots of hats. They are multi-millionaires. Oh, yes, that's true. There are people out there, I'm sure, that make lots of hats. Loaves of bread videos. What's next? Yes, that's it. Did he have hair then, says Steve Baker. What, the Vobes have hair? Never. SJC, the horror. What horror? I'm missing things out. Your rhubarb should be poking its head through by now. It died off completely. There was nothing left in the pot. But I've left the pot there. I will have an inspection. I can tell you that my hollyhocks are growing. I'm hoping that they're going to flower this year. It should be very nice. Just light and candle, Richard. Just light and candle. I don't know what you mean by that, light and candle. Just light a candle. Oh, what, by the rhubarb, or just light the end of the rhubarb and it will be all right. Anyway, light a candle. I see what you mean. Yes, there was a video. Sean James Cameron showed me this bloke who had a candle. He said it had over 1 million views. He must be raking it in, and it's just a candle. And he just says, and you are relaxing. Just keep relaxing. You're falling into a deep sleep. Just listen to my voice, and you're falling into a deep, deep sleep. Sometimes. And he goes on for about an hour of this candle, but actually, apparently, he only shot like 30 seconds of the candle, put it on a loop, and then made it an hour. And the thing is, people go back and look at it several times. You can't make it up. I go out, more or less, every day. I make a video every day. And there's people who will make a video once in a blue moon, shove it up, 10, 20,000 views. I work my little round things off, my meat and 2 veg. I work them off, and it's still very incrementally creeping up. Mike, it's just not a fair world, is it? It's not a fair... Mind you, who's interested in heritage, landscape and nature? Oh, clearly, not enough people. Anyway, never mind all that. Dubai dozen. Here he is, all the way from Dubai, a dozen of him. All wrapped up into one lovely, marvellous little package, which is superb. Hello to you, which is lovely. And Henry Smith, he says, I've just bought a GoPro Hero 9. Well done. So let me know what it is. I've only got an 8. I got up to an 8, and I thought I can't buy any more because I will run out of cash. Where's Peter Lowry these days? I know, I did email him, and they said they were fine. They said they got a bit busy with 1 or 2 things. And, it's a shame. Hello, everyone. We do miss, there's a number of people who go through the gate and then they obviously find another channel. So this Richard Vobes bloke is a bit predictable. He's a bit samey. I think I blame Mark Selwood down there in Cornwall. Mousel, Richard, Mousel. Yes, all right. Who said it was all a bit samey, and I think some people have taken that to heart. Said, yes, he's very samey, isn't he? Blimey. Anyway, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're on a commercial venture. I had a note come through attached to a little pamphlet. with a book, ladies and gentlemen. And this is from Michael Everest. You only fit it once, so fit the best. Everest. Oh, no, that's the wrong advert. So this is called The Toothy Tale. And this is a book by him, illustrated by him, about this character who ends up in a big gob. It's a children's book, by the way. And it's Jack doesn't want to be at the dentist. Well, who would be? Practicing his flute in the school band was where he wanted to be. However, after his gum is injected and his eyes begin to close, it all goes black. He opens his eyes and he looks down to discover in the darkness that weirdly he's standing on a tongue in a mouth. Just a sort of story to frighten the kids at bedtime. But it's a fascinating story with lots of adventure and lovely graphics and a story. And it's available. And Michael is one of our viewers. He's also been busy doing stuff during lockdown, creating a book, and it's out for publication. And you can get it from austinmacaulay.com if you so wish. And it's on A Toothy Tale, available as an ebook or as a real book. So he sent it in, and it was very. He said, "Oh, can I send it to you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You've written children's books." I said, "Well, I've got a cupboard full of them, which I do need to sell or keep the SE." Look at that! Look, horrifically exciting books with text and pictures. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this to the lovely Julia, because I think she's going to be more appreciative, because she's got kids who might enjoy it. So, lovely Julia, this is for Joe or for Elijah. So we'll make of them what it is. But yeah, if anybody's interested, Michael Everest, A Toothy Tale. Do check it out. There we are. Done my sales pitch. I wasn't paid, by the way, to say that either. I did a thing with a little camera. I wasn't paid to say anything about that. I don't know that I don't know whether they were pleased with my review of that little camera. I mean, I noticed that lots of other people had these little cameras now, and their reviews were far, far more superior than anything. I mean, I don't do camera reviews at all in any shape or form, and so I don't know that I was terribly complimentary. I didn't mean to be negative, but in some aspects, but I just thought I had to be honest and say, but then I noticed there's some people who I used to watch quite a bit who have cameras, and they had the same camera, and there was one guy who was saying things like, here's a number of reasons to buy this camera, and I thought, actually, I've revised how I view these people, because suddenly I realised that they're all in it for the money. They're all in it to try and flog, and you get this affiliate link. The more they sell, the more money they get. And I just suddenly thought, and I mean, what's his name, who's just came in there, just Station Master, Bernie, who's quite right. He says, I don't do it for the money. And I do, I do this I busk on here. And I did feel a bit odd. They approached me, said, will you review it? And I said, well, I'll only review it. I'll only be honest. You're not paying me. I don't want any money. And I'm not sure whether I've got to give this thing back or not now. It's all a bit of a cagey situation. Very nice people, very nice to deal with and all of that. Obviously they wanted me to push the camera as much as possible. And I said, well, I'm happy to, use it and give it a whirl. Is it any good for me? And I'll give you an honest review. But I noticed that these other people out there were very keen to, do all the high-end stuff and fly it around on drones and give you lots of reasons why you should be buying it. And here's the affiliate links and get it and blah, blah, and all. And I suddenly realised, actually, I'm not going to be watching your channels anymore, because basically you're in it just to be commercial, and I can't trust your judgments anymore. So anyway, that was that. Robin Jones says it was honest. Thank you very much. That's it. Love the numbskulls shoveling food in the large... Oh, yes, I used to love the numbskulls. That was great, wasn't it? So, yeah. Instant 360 is £300. Yes, that's it. Although I think Nigel Sadler said he'd found them online for about £200. I think it's, I think for the average person, for a bit of fun, it's great. I couldn't test it with an Android phone, because at the time that they sent it to me, the app wasn't ready, and I could only do it on an iPhone, and I don't have iPhones. I've got nothing to do with iPhones, don't like iPhones, don't like anything to do with the Apple products. I like Orange Well, I don't like orange. Then orange aren't in existence anymore. But I meant, I was trying to make a joke about fruit and that went downhill the wrong way. Station Meister's Choice says, yes, you think that you have lots of people watching your videos and then you see how long the average watch times. Easy to get downhearted by that. Absolutely. The thing about it is Sean James Cameron rings me up from time to time. And he says to me, Richard, he says, oh, you know, they're doing this to the adverts and they're doing this. And I've had a word with YouTube and they suggest this to get all this. And he and I work very differently. And, you know, love him to bits. And I know he's watching and I hope he's still watching. He's trying to make money out of it. I'm trying to make money out. But my thing is, I've always been a busker. And I think you're only as good as your last performance. And I go out and I do my thing. The adverts, I top and tail them with adverts. It's beer money or milk paying money. I don't drink beer anymore. It's just you know, the money that you get for the amount of work. I mean, I put out 30 daily videos a month, which I have to get in my van and drive. You know what I do. You know what I do. Don't need to tell you. When I work all out, I work very hard on it. I'm always editing and all the rest of it. And the amount of money that you get, say I get, I don't know what it is. It's about 150. Sometimes now it's about 170 a month. You can't live on that. You can't live on that. So I don't care about the adverts and all of that. They can tax it. It's going to take so little money from my earnings. If I had 100,000 subscribers, it'd be different. So I don't worry about the adverts. I think, you know, in terms of money, I don't want them in the middle, but it's a nice, you know, it helps pay for the diesel and that sort of thing. But my value is you, the audience. The audience are the most important people to me. And that's why I tried to build the community on the Facebook group. That's why we do all of these live shows, because it's all part and parcel of the brand. And you guys are the important thing. The adverts is just it's not the be all and end all of it. So that's, I think, where Sean and I slightly differ, because I think he's more interested in trying to rake the money from the adverts and you know, bless him, he's got a hell of a lot more subscribers than I have, and quite right too. But I'm not worried about that. To me, I'd much rather rinse the old people out of their money. I'd much rather sort of get you lot to give me your bank details and, you know, send all as much cash as you could possibly. Of course, I'm joking. And you know when I'm joking. You know, this is so funny, I think, because I put myself out there, as you know, and then I'll get some people, the trolls who come in, and they misunderstand me. They misunderstand how the Vobes show works, for example. The regular viewers know that I say a whole load of things. Mostly it's joking, and mostly you know that I'm fairly genuine, that it isn't, that I'm, you know, you can tell when I'm out mucking about. Hopefully, you can tell.
Are you mucking about now, sir?
No, I'm being brutally honest. You are a horrible, snivelling little git. He's not really.
No, sir, I'm not. I am the only reason people tune in.
Yes, sadly, that is true. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I know you've been commenting and I haven't had the goodwill to read any of them. I think I prefer to be just handling the camera and nothing else, says Station Master's Choice. I have no interest in making from money, says Andrew Norris. Some of us have got to pay the bills. You know, some of us have got to somehow pay the bills. So, you know, some of us do have to make money from it, but I think there's different ways of doing it, and everyone's entitled to do, you know, the viewer can make their own mind up, can't they? I think the viewer, you've got to treat the viewer as being quite intelligent people. I remember when I was working in television, in such a minor capacity, but I remember somebody saying to me, and for a while I took this to mean to be true. And I think in television, it's a different thing from YouTube. But in television, I think they treat people as if they're absolutely thick. And I sort of went away with that attitude that you had to explain everything about 10 times, which is why you get these television programs that start by telling you what the program's going to be about, telling you what you're going to see, and then they have a break and they tell you what they just told you. What you've already seen is this, but you haven't seen this. After the break, and then you come back from the break, and then they tell you again what you've just seen, as if you've got a 20-second memory. It's ridiculous. And then you never actually get to see the thing that they told you that you were going to see at the end of the program. You've already seen 20 times because that's all they had. They had nothing else. So, But now I've realised, of course, that YouTube is great because you lot are intelligent. You are able to work things out for yourself. And you know, if you don't like something, you just say, well, sod it, I've got other things to do. I'll just stick over there. So it's down to us performers to try and perform and do things which are great. And it takes time, I think, also, if you're doing a channel, it takes time, or making videos on a regular basis. It really takes a lot of time. That's why I gave myself 5 years to do this, to see, will the audience like me? Is what I'm doing the sort of thing that some audience, you know, I can't please everybody. Nobody can. And in the end, you just get people who are like-minded. They understand. They know you're having a laugh when you're having a laugh. They know when you're being serious when you're being serious. They go with the thing. And it's not all about having to be, hey, yeah, no, yeah, as so many... You know, the Bald Explorer is a lot more low-key, and it's more natural. Here am I just walking along, and there's a daisy, and there's a blade of grass. Let's have a look at this blade of grass from this side. My goodness, it's green on this side, and this side, oh, it's green on this side. It's a nice blade of, you know, it's a nice gentle sort of... Anyway, talking rubbish here. So a lot of adult programmes seem to treat adults like kids, says Judith. She's absolutely right. Steve Baker says, Emma says that drives her mad. Gardener's World on BBC Two has that form. So many. And the other thing, I mean, I haven't watched television for donkey's years, but I bet they still do the thing where they go, and the one leaving this week is going to be leaving the studio and won't be coming back tomorrow is... leaving the studio and not coming back ever again, and we're going to miss you, is...
Why don't you just tell us?
Oh, it's Brian. Brian over there. Sorry, Brian, you're off. And then we've got to get all the tears of, I didn't want to leave, I thought it was great, I was going to be there. Who cares? You're gone, you just cooked a little round faggot in a tree. It wasn't anything special, it was just a funny little amusing thing. And anyway, we wanted that one to win. We've always wanted that one to win because they fit the, you know, they fit the current way of thinking. That's how it works. Anyway, enough of this gay banter. Ladies and gentlemen, we have videos from Tarquin. We have one from Bernie, from Sean, from Mark Donny McLeod. We must get on to this stuff. I've done my half an hour load of preamble. Robin has another famous person for us to Can We Work Out Who It Is? I have to say, I had no idea when I saw the picture, so I'm sure you'll be better than me. Pete has some steampunk photos for us to look at, and Robert Brailsford has a ramble around in Radstock. Oh, it's all on the Vobes show. Stay tuned. I've got to make some little jingle things because it's all great when they go, and this is the Vobes show, and then you suddenly get the bing. Yeah. Haven't got any of those, though, unfortunately. I'll have to make some. Anyway, Piers Morgan, anybody? Yes, is Piers Morgan... I understand he's looking for a job, and he's going to do Tuesdays and Thursdays for me. Isn't that right, Piers? I think he's just in makeup there. He's just trying to find where the money is. He can look again, can't he? Oh, look, I'm almost out the top of the screen. I'll have to lower my chair a bit. Oh dear, that's gone a bit low now. I look a bit stupid down there. There we go, that's better. So, right, let's get on with our first one. We're going to go to High Hurstwood and have a look. This is lovely. Thanks to Tarquin for sending this in. High Hurstwood, and it's good close-up photography. I like this. You'll like it just as much. Let's go in the video box and have a look. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Some fantastic close-up shots. Really enjoyed that. Thank you so much, Tarquin. That's brilliant. And it made me think, actually, I want to invest in a new lens. I've got my eye on a lens. It's quite expensive for my camera when I'm going out and about, because I want to be able to do some of these close-up shots as well as far-away shots. And so sometimes you can get a nice big, zooming in lens to do far distance things, but also you can zoom in on stuff to do macro things, which is lovely. I must, but it's a lot of cash. But every time I go out, I regret not having a lens that does that. It depends which camera I take out. You see, I've got two that does two for different reasons, but always looking at the gear. That's the problem. I see something like that Tarquin has done. I think, oh, it's time to splash the cash. Just to add extra bit. But, it's lovely seeing things in close-up, isn't it? Especially all that lovely nature and the lichen on the twigs and the tiny little plants and the water coming towards you. All of that. Absolutely superb. We encourage you, Tarquin, to do some more and send it in. Send it in, because I think that's gone down very well. Everybody loves that. Loves the video. Nice, steady panning, absolutely. And great transitions as well, as Andrew Norris pointed out. There we are. He's got a lens for pancakes, though. I do have a pancake lens, it's true. I did lose it once. I tossed it and it never came back on Devil's Dyke, of all places. Somebody somewhere picked up a Canon lens for... a pancake lens, a 25mm pancake. Was it 25mm? Can't remember. Was it 30mm? Pancake lens. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, no, it must have been 25mm, because the next one is a 50mm, isn't it? So a nifty 50, as they call him in the trade. Anyway, there we go. Thank you so much. That was absolutely delightful. We really enjoyed that. We will open up the phone lines very shortly, but we're going to go and have a look at the Robin Jones famous photo. So let us go. Now, we photography, is loosely in our art gallery. So we're going to go into the art gallery and have a look at, can you decide who famously this person is? I've signed out. I've just realised I've signed out of my email account. So let me do that whilst... let me play this whilst we sign in again. I might have to go to another video or something. Hang on a minute. Oh, why isn't that working? Cool. Okay, I have signed in. Here we are. This is another famous person, ladies and gentlemen. Celebrity number 2. He does tell me who it is, but I'm not going to tell you as yet. The dapper dresser was famous. A boxer in the 80s. All right, fair dues. So, who is this, ladies and gentlemen? Anybody tell me who that is? And you win the star prize of a night out with Eric. Yes, you get to buy Eric a nice box of spaghetti. So there we are. Bonnie says, I'm the sort of person that has all the gear and no idea. Too much gear. I know what you mean. Better to have less gear and more what is it? But better to have less gear and more knowledge than more gear and no knowledge, I imagine. Lots of guesses going there, but that's not what I have on the thing. On the card, as they say. Oh, there's the... Sorry about that. That's not supposed to come in. Let me just have a look and remind myself who it is. Anybody? Ah, here we go. Robin Jones says, it's Lloyd Honeyghan, folks. Welterweight champion. Did anybody guess that? Frank Bruno? No. His hat is dusty. Yeah. Biggie Small. Never heard of Biggie Small. George Malley. Chris Eubank. George Foreman. Loads of guesses. Diane Abbott, says Michael White. Yes, it could have been Diane Abbott. Can you imagine Diane Abbott in the boxing ring? There's a comedy moment just there. Bless her little cotton woolen socks. But there we are. I don't know whether she wears cotton woolen socks. But if she does, it would have been fun. Thank you so much, Robin. Enjoyed that. Good guess. Good game, good game. All right, my love. Let's look at the old floorboard. It's Andrew Norris 3 points and Julie M 2. So well done to you two. Better luck next time. we have, hopefully, Robin is going to send in another famous person for the next show, which is Friday, for the Friday show. So far, I haven't recognised either of them. It just goes to show, people are only famous if they are known by certain people, of course. Now that I don't have a television, I don't know what's going on in this world. Isn't it interesting, though? Now that, television is somewhat, a fractured industry, people used to know who Kirk Douglas was and Michael Caine and people like Clint Eastwood and people like that. Notice I've just mentioned all names. Julie Andrews, there we are. Mentioned all men is what I meant to say. I mentioned names. Of course I mentioned names. But in the old days, we used to, somebody was in a film, they'd be famous internationally and all around the world. Dick Van Dyke, another one. But now, of course, the people are famous in little spheres. Richard Vobes is famous to a very tiny minority of people, and other YouTubers are famous within there. Sean James Cameron will be famous to a bunch of people who know him. We're all famous in little ways. People are not that amount of fame that people used to have. Very, very few people get to that now. That sort of height of fame where they're known all over the world. And yet, some people who've got millions of views on YouTube could be sitting on a bus next to somebody else who has no idea who they are and would just think of them as an ordinary person. Charlton Heston, he's another one. Yes, they don't get more famous than that, do they? I hardly ever recognise sports people, says Julia. I'm with you there. I never recognise any of them. Michael Caine started acting in a theatre in Horsham. Not a lot of people know that. I knew that. I did work at the Capitol Theatre in Horsham, which I understood was where he used to go and work as a scenic hand, and he used to sweep the stage. But then somebody else said, no, it wasn't that theatre. And I thought, well, there isn't another theatre in Horsham. A sumo wrestler called John Clark. Geoffrey Harrison has suddenly turned into Spartacus for no apparent reason, and he's very welcome. Maybe he's got the right dimple in the right place. Anyway, there we are. That was that bit. So we move on. Let us put another video on the screen. Oh no, I was going to open up the phone lines. That's right. Yes, let's open up the phone. You can call the Vobes 07934746790 if you want. If you're burning to ask a question, now is your chance to give us a little tinkle. Before we go to something else. Meanwhile, whilst that's going on, I wonder if I can find the steampunk photos that Pete has sent in. Hang on a minute. Yeah, let's see. Is this the one? Yeah, here's some steampunk from... I guess you all know what steampunk is. This is from Colonel Cragratty in his version of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, obviously. I was just trying to think of the first lines of it. No one would have believed in the first decades of the 18th century that minds immeasurably smaller than Vobes's were scrutinized in a raindrop. No one could possibly think that he would go on the internet and do crazy shows like this. No one ever believed that he would have any success. Oh, that's the next picture. So that's the first picture. This is the second picture. A tea party with a man in a frock. I think that's a man, or maybe it's a lady, with a microphone growing out of her moustache, which is always a worry. I think this is Colonel Cragratty on the right, if I've got this right. I think this is I can't remember what you called this. Not slow tea, but a tea. This is a tea. What do you call it? It's like quick draw, but with tea. Can't remember. He'll tell us. 2 soups. No, not soups. I was trying to find this thing. That's what I was looking for. There we go. Look. What do you call it? It's a tea mat. A tea. Tea dueling. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Manuel. Ding. What do you expect to see from a hotel bedroom window? The Hanging Gardens of Babylon? Looks like Monty Python sketch. Yes, there we are. I think it's to do with... That's not tea bags they're putting in there. That's biscuits going in. And it's the one whose biscuits crumbles first in the tea dueling. It's a very sensible occupation. Nobody wants to ring, so Let's get shot of that. Brilliant stuff. All right, let us. Thank you so much for that. Let us nip into the what do you call it? This thing. And Bernie is going to take us on a nice tour of Winchelsea. Winchelsea, you know that lovely village that sort of got washed away in the sea in the year in the sort of Saxon times, wasn't it? It was washed away, and then they had to rebuild it something like 1272, just in time for the raiders to come in, not the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Anybody sing the Raiders of the Lost Ark? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, we are. Look, just when we don't expect it, a phone call. Here we are. Let's find out who's calling in. International number. Hello. Welcome to the Vobes Show.
Hi, it's Alan Sandel here. How are you, Sir Richard?
Yes, I'm all right. Who did you say it was?
Alan Sandel.
Alan. How are you, Alan?
I'm very good. I called you so you could wish me happy birthday.
Oh, of course. One moment, please. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Alan Sandel. Oh, hell, it's Alan.
Hello.
Happy birthday to you. So how many returns have you had to have today?
I think it's 72.
72? You don't sound old enough.
70 blooming 2, yeah. But it's a big, it's a big day in Texas. It's masks off.
Is it masks off?
Well, not the mandate has been lifted. You're just now to use your own judgment, and businesses can use their own judgment also as to how full their establishment can be. And the president has called our governor a Neanderthal for that.
Well, of course, the Neanderthals were the catalyst that made the Homo sapiens much cleverer by when they interbred. I heard this the other day. That the Homo sapiens came from down in South Africa or wherever it was, sub-Saharan somewhere, and they met up with the Neanderthals. They did a bit of you-know-what, how's your father, and some sort of magic thing happened, and then Homo sapiens became Homo sapiens plus, and they went over to the wherever, and we're all now very
cohabit.
Yeah, and we're much clever. So you've got a bit of the correct plus there, taking off the masks and
we've all got a few percent.
Yeah, and so common sense in Texas has come to fruition.
Yes, it has. I mean, some people were very good around here wearing their masks, but other places in Texas they couldn't care less.
No.
And it was made very clear at the outset that the police have been given no powers to do anything about it.
Right.
So and cases have been coming down just like everywhere else.
Yes, of course. I mean, it's all a nonsense. I'd like to have seen J.R. Ewing wearing a mask and see how they would have liked it. Bam 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 ba bam ba ba bam 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 ba ba bam. Oh look, here comes J.R. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, so next time I call you, I'll probably be calling you from England. I fly back at the end of this month.
Oh, will you fly back at the end of the month? Have you got to go into quarantine or any of that nonsense?
Oh, yes, I've got to book 2 tests before I can get on a plane this end.
Oh, have you? 2 tests?
2 tests in my 10 or 14 days of incubation or whatever you call it.
Gosh.
And, I had to have a negative test within 72 hours of leaving as well.
Right.
I've had both the vaccinations, but as Mr. Whitty, you know who Mr. Whitty is that his name?
Yes, Mr. Whitty from the Whitty Ice Cream Company.
Yes, he said yesterday that the vaccine won't work on some people.
Well, yes,
That's
of course.
Charming.
Well, I mean, it's not. That's right. I mean, vaccines doesn't work for everybody, obviously. Although you've got to have one, whether it works or not. And if you haven't got one, you won't get your vaccine passport, and you won't be allowed to breathe our lovely green and country air.
No, just sit indoors and twiddle your thumbs.
Yes, you won't be allowed out anywhere. And I know it's. You'll be all right, though. You'll be all right. A man of your calibre. If you're 71 or 72, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I won't be able to meet up with my...
You won't be able to meet up with who?
With my family. I think it's only one. It's only one person can meet one person, isn't it, at the moment?
Well, in the UK, that's
Yes.
yeah. So I mean, officially, but if you listen to the voice of reason, Lord Sumption, he says quietly, on the whole, people will just get on and do what they need to do. And he was the High Court judge. He knows, he just said, ultimately, people will quietly disobey the law. And at some point, when enough people are disobeying the law, because the law is only there by consent. If people don't choose to do it, there's not much they can do. Lord Sumption knows.
Just don't make it too obvious.
No, that's right. Don't push it in anybody's face. Just go about your business. I mean, I'm not saying anybody should do this, of course, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I'm not saying that. But it's going on. And Lord Sumption has said, it's going on everywhere. Of course people are doing it. Of course they are. And what's happened? The virus and all of that, the infections are all going down now. It's not a problem.
Yep.
It's not a problem. Yep. But as Julia Hartley-Brewer said only this morning on her talk radio show, she said, it was all about getting the vaccines. Once we got the vaccines, it was going to be all right. Only now we've all got the vaccine, it's not actually all right. They keep moving the sodding goalposts. It's just an outrage.
I think it's. I kind of think it's dying down naturally, like the Spanish flu did.
Yeah, I mean it will. It'll just die down, and it'll just be something that'll rear its ugly head. And what we need is the government now just to grow a pair, as they say, and not worry about it anymore. Still maintain everything that they're doing, but not when it comes to next year. We don't want any more lockdowns next year and people getting a bit. Oh look, there's a virus from Bognor Regis. Or there's one from Texas that's just flown in. Just come in from Texas.
God, yeah. All sorts.
The Sandel virus, they'll call it.
I think we've got them all here.
The variant.
Yeah. Yes, we're a very variant people.
Yes. Well, what's it? We like a bit of variation. That's what I thought. That was the thing. We want diversity, apparently, in this country. It's supposed to be good for us. So diversity of the virus is good. As long as it's not diverse thought. We're not allowed to have any of that. We've all got to believe the same thing. But diversity and everything else, bar thought. I think that's the BBC's way. They like, diversity. It's quotas now as well. Quotas and all of this. Although I don't think they're allowed to call it quotas. Anyway, we're getting very political there.
Got to be woke. It's got to be woke. At least we survived the Great Freeze over here. We nearly had 13 million dead people.
13 million dead people. You had snow in Texas, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, we do get snow, but this was exceptionally
cold snow.
It went down to minus 18 centigrade.
Minus 18 centigrade. Just put that in your pipe.
18 centigrade. I know, and half the power supply went off.
Yeah.
And they actually calculated they were 4 minutes and 37 seconds from a total blackout.
Wow.
It would have taken months to fix, during which time we'd have had no power, no water.
Well, you could have boiled the snow, I suppose. You could have boiled, although they had no power to boil it. Do you have any trees in Texas?
Lots.
Lots of trees. So you could have had log fires and boiled the water. You would have been all right. People
had log fires. Yeah, I'd have to do it outside. I haven't got a chimney in this little studio.
Oh.
But there were people trying also. My power was going on and off and on and off. So when it came on, you jumped out of bed and cooked something.
Yeah.
In case the power went off again.
Good
but they were sending people out, sending staff out from hospitals to forage for water to flush the toilets.
Oh, for goodness sake. Bit of yellow snow would have been all right. Could have had yellow snow.
Yeah, so we'd have, and of course everybody's food went off in their fridges and their freezers. And
but I don't understand. You've got all this snow. Why is the food go? Can they not just put it outside? Pack it in the...
I don't think Sainsbury's would do that. It would get nicked.
Oh, I see. You mean supermarket? Oh, I see. Supermarket. Sorry, I thought you meant individuals just couldn't. I mean, I often stick my milk and stuff when it's really cold. I can just leave stuff out in the garden because it saves me having to keep the fridge going.
I did think about it.
Yeah, I mean...
I also sort of melting buckets of snow as well. But we had to boil our water, even to brush our teeth, they said. Well, I didn't bother.
No, don't worry about
there was some horrible white powder in our water.
White powder?
Yes.
Yeah. It's probably
Yes.
something to do with the man who runs Microsoft, isn't it? Isn't that that's one of the latest things floating about? He's trying to put something in so everybody's, basically under his. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
No, I think I bought one of his computers once about 50 years ago.
Yeah. Well, we're running off his at the moment here, so it's all good. It's all good.
Oh, very
Anyway,
good.
we better play another video. But Alan, happy birthday!
Yes,
Have a safe
thank you
flight.
very much, sir.
Have a safe flight in.
Yes, indeed.
And we will try and
Thank you.
keep you entertained whilst you're in quarantine.
Yes, I'll be able to listen to you at, 8 o'clock at night rather than 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, there you go. And you can stay in stereo as well.
Like it. Magic.
Yeah, magic.
All the best.
Take care. Nice to talk
All
to you.
the
Thanks
best.
for calling in.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
There we are. That's Alan Sandel flying all the way from Texas. Covered in snow. Yellow snow. Always the best kind. So there we are. Right, we'll have a look at your comments in a few years' time. But first, we will go and catch up with Bernie, I think I said, in Winchelsea.
All of this here was built as old Winchelsea on a shingle bank, or very close to it, known as the Camber. But over the years it got chipped away by erosion and all the rest of it, until a great storm in 1287 just completely washed the rest of it away. And so that is why Edward I ordered the building of New Winchelsea on top of the cliffs. New Winchelsea, and a rather different view of the Strand Gate, which was the old entrance into the town for many years until they finally built the bypass. And as you can see quite clearly, those are cliffs there. Old Strand Cottage, which stands at the bottom of Strand Hill and sort of guards the entrance to the road going up into Winchelsea, where we'll go now and we'll take a closer look. Well, I'm heading on up to the Strand Gate now, and you can see how strategically it made sense to build New Winchelsea on top of the hill. And just zooming over there, you can see what a lovely view we've got here as the sun rises right the way across to the other side of Rye Bay. Dungeness, right there in the distance. And as we turn round, there is the Strand Gate. As I say, until they built the bypass, this was actually the main road through here from Rye to Hastings. Filming here, this is the main road inside Winchelsea, just as you come up from the Strand Gate. And there's a house just down the hill there called, I think it's Tower Cottage, which was owned by a famous actress called Helen Terry. Now I'm just going to zoom over there, because I think in the distance there we can see the Dungeness power station, way over there in the mist. And just walking along this road here, because I'm hoping that what I found is the town well. there it is. That's where they used to get their water supply from. Many, many years ago.
Lovely, lovely looking well. Well. And of course the gate there into it. I thought the gate was into Rye, wasn't it? And Winchelsea is, because if I remember right, Winchelsea is like on a grid pattern, isn't it? The second version, not the original version, because that's in the sea, sunken and underwater. I'm glad we didn't get poor old Bernie to go scuba diving, looking for the first version, first iteration, Winchelsea Mark 1. That would have been it would have been cold. Would have been cold. But anyway, brilliant. Looking forward to more of that. He's sending in some more. Thank you so much, Bernie. Really appreciate that. Very kind. Winchelsea. It's an area of Sussex that I need to get over, but this is where I want the restrictions to be lifted so I can get over there in my van and discreetly, put it down a side alley somewhere, snooze a light, make some videos and all of that kind of malarkey. All good fun. But we desperately want all this nonsense just now lifted and get back to some normality. Lots of comments there. Fab Zooming says, Sean, nice to hear the black cap. Lovely bird song, says Bonnie. Christine Tompkins, something really stinking in my fridge. Oh, we don't want to know about that. Ron Langley says, thanks to Bernie. I'm just reading these comments completely at random, as you know. Spike is buried there, apparently. Oh, is he? Quick question, says Robert Croser to Bernie. Do you ever sleep? It's very early. Oh, yes, it's nice and early. You've got to get up early to get the shots, get around where there's nobody about. Andrew Norris says, I always think of Derek Jarman, not Derek Nimmo, whenever Dungeness is mentioned. One day I would love to spend some more time in Kent. Yes, didn't he have a house over there, Derek Nimmo? Not Derek Nimmo, Derek Jarvis. Martin Jarvis. No, not Martin Jarvis, one of them. The three of them all together, they had a party. Rye has its own gate, says Station Master. That's the gate to Winchelsea. Oh, yes, the Rye gate is the one I was thinking of. His lovely gate, where I met Tom Baker once. Did you know, says Jeffrey Harrison, Richard, did you know, Richard, Winchelsea was the worst ever massacre during the Vikings? I have heard about that. I don't know the details, but I've heard that there was terrible massacre going on. You see, when I get my history stuff going, and I do want to get it going when I've got the new studio, and I want to go through some of the events, the timeline of England. These are the sort of things I want to be able to cover. And then the Bald Explorer can go and do more sort of detailed things about them later on. I've got a book here which I ordered. This is going to be fascinating, and I'm going to bore you senseless with it. It's called The Farming of Prehistoric England, and it's a textbook-style book with lots of diagrams and things that is going to really bore you senseless, but it's the sort of thing that fascinates me, and I'll have a read of that. I'll get it into my head, and then I'll forget every last bloody thing. That's the trouble with me. Anyway, that's how it goes. Kerry Baldwin says, thanks, Bernie. That was lovely. It was lovely, actually. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. If anyone wants to give us another tinkle, we'll open up the tinkles. Derek Jarman has a house in Dungeness. Yes. Does he still have it? Is he still in there? It's called Prospect Cottage. I don't know whether is he, because when I was filming there, people said, "Oh, that's Derek Jarman's house." But then somebody says he's not in there. Is he still alive? Is he still with us? Sean Taylor, not Sean Taylor. Sorry, yes, Sean Taylor, not the Sean Taylor, not Keep and no, because he's no longer with us. Sean Taylor says my mother's family moved to a wooden shack in Winchelsea Beach in 1940 when their house was in London was being bombed. This little cottage, this wooden cottage, is still there and is now a holiday home called Iden. It's funny, isn't it, how during the war people were, in fact, evacuated closer to where the Jerrys might have come down. That always struck me as being a bit daft. I mean, my dad was not vaccinated. What was the word we were looking at? I've just forgotten it now. Evacuated. There, sounds like vaccinated. Anyway, he was vaccinated. He was evacuated into Hertfordshire somewhere. Hated it, absolutely hated it, because he was a bit of a townie. He came from Hendon, and he said they were quite mean to him in the country. Those old country bumpkins, you know what I mean there? There's a little townie in here, we'll have him. He didn't really like it, and he had to come home. But it's funny how some people were evacuated much closer to the front line. Down there where the planes were coming and dropping their bombs on the way back when they haven't had enough. I still think it's maintained as Derek's cottage. Ah, is it? Jarman has been dead for years. I had the feeling when I went round the house filming that there was a strange smell. So maybe that. I love a wooden shack, says Sean James Cameron. Bonnie says railway coaches were parked on Shoreham Beach as beach chalets. Yes, in fact, there's still a couple. Most of them have gone now, but there is still a couple there. And good old, what's his name from the Thingamy at Shoreham Fort? What Julia knows his name? What's his Baines, Mr. Baines. What's his name? He took us on a tour. Lovely chap, like him very much, because can't bring his name to my head. And he pointed out two of the houses, which if you look very carefully, you can still see where the railway coaches were. Sort of 1920s railway coaches. Fascinating stuff. So there we are. Mark Donny McLeod. Gary Baines. Thank you, Gary Baines. That's it. Of course, he's good old Gary. If you're watching, Gary, I apologise for forgetting your name. But I've only got a 1,000-word vocabulary, apparently. My mum was evacuated to Buckhorn, Western Dorset. Oh, here we go. Steve Baker's on the phone. Let's find out what Steve Baker has to say. Hello, Steve Baker. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Richard. How do you know it was me?
Well, I think because we had a conversation once and I had to put your name in on WhatsApp. And we had that in conversation with podcast, and that's why I had to write it down. Otherwise, I never know. That's the joy of it, you see. If I know who's calling in, I can go, it's Steve Baker, quick ditch that one. How are you, sir?
All right. It was interesting what you said about the railway carriages.
Yeah, Gary
all
Baines.
along the Sussex coast, there's lots of railway carriages, aren't there?
Lovely Lee Lawson, who doesn't watch this show, but she listens to our Listen with Vobes show, and she gave me some info about one that's in Goring, that when she, I think in the 70s or 80s or whenever it was, she took a picture of it when they were pulling down, it may have been a bit later, maybe in 2000, and they were pulling down the house, this old bungalow, and inside, in the shell of the bungalow, was the original railway carriage that had been the basis of where the house had grown around it.
Yeah. And we've got those in Felpham.
Have you got? They got them in Felpham as well. That's amazing, isn't it?
If you go down to the seafront, just to the right of where the lobster pot is, there's a number of railway carriages, but from the outside they don't look like railway carriages. But when you actually go inside, they've still got the first class compartments with the doors still, so the bedroom is actually in a first class compartment.
Oh, amazing! That is so amazing. So I wonder how when they sell them, presumably the prospective buyer knows that they're an old railway carriage in there. It probably adds a bit to the money, to the price of the property.
I'm not sure you'd actually get a mortgage on it, to be honest with you, because it's built around a railway carriage and therefore it's not a permanent structure, is it? But fascinating to see.
Yeah. Oh, how interesting. You must be getting close to the opening now, aren't you?
Yes, busy working in the background, getting ready for the opening. But talking to all my guys, they're all raring to go at the moment. Furlough's not what people might think it would be, to be fair.
No, it's not furlough and it's not fair.
No, I spoke to one of the girls in Worthing today, and I said to her, "So how are you?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm okay, Steve. I'm okay." And I went, "So what have you been doing with your time?" And she went, bearing in mind she's only 19. She said, "Yeah, I've been playing the Xbox."
That's it. I mean, this is the sad thing, isn't it? When people are working, they often say, "Oh, if only I had a month off, I would do this and do this and do this." They've had a year off, and a lot of people, I think, have gone, "Well, I can do it tomorrow. I can do it tomorrow because I've got the whole, got whenever," and that is the problem. And I think people who are not used to working for themselves. The motivation is something you have to have if you're self-employed, because otherwise you never get going. And so, I just get up and it's just automatic. I don't think about it. But if I was somebody who you had a job and you went to, and all of that was, you knew what you had to do when you got there and did those things. If I then had to then do, what would you do? I mean, if I didn't do my YouTube stuff now, I don't know what I'd do.
Well, it is strange because I'm part furloughed, so I'm working 1 day a week. But the other days, well, apart from Emma having me doing loads of jobs around the house.
Your house must be immaculate then after a year.
It's getting there, to be fair. But I wake up
Sweet
to
wrappers
a list.
on the walls. A whole new wall of sweet wrappers wallpaper.
No. Well, last year when we went into the first lockdown and we had to shut the shops, and then we got to the stage where we were going to reopen them, we had to go into the shops and obviously remove the out-of-date stock. And I spoke to my boss and I said, look, I've been into the shop, got all this out-of-date stock, what should I do with it? And he went, well, either bin it or tell the staff they can have it. So I brought a load home. My kids were munching on chocolate bars for months.
Lovely. Lucky them.
Well, yeah, you say that, but you've got to pick up the dentist bill afterwards, haven't you, really?
Well, that's true. That is true. And all the litter.
Yes, because teenagers don't put the wrappers in the bin, do they?
I don't hear, talking of litter, I don't know if you've been driving much.
A little bit.
If you ever get onto the A27, and it's probably in lots of other places, I don't know whether we are not paying our road litter collectors to go and collect litter on the road. But I can tell you that between Arundel and Worthing, and I'm sure this is everywhere, the side of the road, the verges, I have never seen the amount of litter that has been... I mean, it is almost fly tipping on there. You see just so much. When Julia and I went to film in the woods for this little 2GoTo camera, and I said to Julia, look at the rubbish. And her mouth was just so wide open, agog at all of this. And I said, I'm so inclined to get a yellow flow res, whatever you call it, high res jacket and go and pick some of it up. I said, but you'd never stop. You'd need a truck and about 50 bags. It's not just a question of picking up a little bit and going, oh, there, I tied it up a bit. I've never seen it so bad. And I think these people are not being paid because they probably have run out of money because they're paying people on furlough and all other things. And these are the little, like potholes. How many roads have got potholes everywhere?
The biggest irony?
What's that?
Most of the litter you will see will be discarded face masks that people have put on to protect themselves from COVID.
Absolutely.
And rubber gloves.
Yes. And I do know in tomorrow's video, I do a walk from the Black Rabbit pub in
Arundel.
Thanks. Arundel, down to South Stoke, along the river and what have you. And I saw copious of these sodding things. I filmed one of them, but I just saw them. I made it, and you'll hear me in tomorrow's video make a point about it. That and nobody wants to pick them up because nobody, what's lingering on it? Oh, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to touch.
Exactly.
We've all been stupidly scared, and so now we can't even pick up the litter. It's just outrageous. But there we go. What can you do? But the litter it's just everywhere, and it's my goodness, 1 year of not having, and it's amazing, these people that do this work silent. And I said to Julia, should get the blooming prisoners out on a chain gang picking it up. I don't. Probably that's probably not PC anymore. You probably can't do that anymore. All the Ford Open people, come on, we're going to get you in high vis, and we're going to, get you out there on the chain gang picking up the litter.
Get a bit of fresh air, pick up a bit of litter.
Yeah, have a few coaches.
Bit of exercise.
There, that's it. A few bit of bending over. Mind you, they're prisoners. They're probably used to bending over. Anyway, moving swiftly on. At least they'd have the clothes on, so it won't be the same. So if COVID is so infectious, why aren't there special bins for masks? You'd think that, yeah, that's true. Why isn't there special? Because in a hospital you have that, don't you? Clinical waste and whatever the other one is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you would think that
and dog poo, as Emma just pointed out.
And dog poo. Thank you, Emma. Dog poo. Yes, we have it. Although most people these days, apparently the trendy thing is to get your dog poo, put it in a plastic bag, and hang it from a bush.
That's disgusting.
And you just,
what's the point?
What do you just think?
Is the point?
You may as well leave the dog poo. Throw the dog poo in the bush, and don't put the plastic in there. The worst is putting it in the plastic and leaving the plastic. What is the matter with these people?
Yeah, it's out. That's bang out of order.
I mean, take it home or put it in a bin. But don't leave or just, if you really are not going to take it home or do anything, at least kick it off the path and leave it so the rain can, disintegrate it.
Flick and stick, they call it, don't they?
Flick and
Stick and flick.
Stick and flick. Far better than...
I've been corrected by Emma again.
Well done, Emma. She knows her stuff, doesn't she?
Emma knows her stuff, yeah. When she chooses to.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But just putting it in, and I mean, it just seems that so many people, wherever you go, they all do it. They all go, I'll put it in a bag and I'll just leave it on the path or hang it from as if that's like, you just think you are such a tosser that those sort of people should have their head boiled alive.
But it's the mentality of it.
That's what I mean.
What goes into somebody's head when they say,
thick.
I'll get a black bag, I'll pick up the dog poo, and I'm now going to hang it on a fence somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there should be a thing where they get their animal revoked.
Well,
or their legs shredded or something.
It comes down to enforcement, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, just have them put up against the wall and shot. That's what I think. Oh, sorry, hang on a minute.
Pierce.
I might have to leave the programme now because people might disagree with my opinion, and I might just have to... If I walk out, what happens? It's just a blank screen. Julia
are coming in.
She'll have to cycle over. Come in and do the show. So that's no good. God, blimey. So there we are. Anyway, put it in a bag and leave it in the car. Yes, that's what one should do. Elizabeth, Elaine Brazier's out there. She says, Judith, we agree the litter is appalling. I do not know what the point will be, what point it will be picked up, as it would not disappear on its own. I was going to write a letter of complaint. Yes, but does letters of complaint these days do anything? These days you've got to get the Twitterati on your side, haven't you? Without the Twitterati on your side, you're nothing. You've got no power anymore, because everything is done for the Twitter. I mean, I have a Twitter account, but I never use it, and I do feel I would have got rid of my Twitter account, but I don't want anyone else having @Vobes, because somebody got in touch with me once and said, I notice you don't really use your Twitter account, and I've got the same name as you. I wonder if I could have the @Vobes, and I thought, no, sod off. Get your own sodding @something Vobes. What are you laughing at, you swine? What are you laughing?
Well,
I got there first. I got the @Vobes. It's my @Vobes.
If you've got it,
yeah.
If you've got it, you keep it.
That's it. It's mine. I may not use it very often. I think there's an automatic thing that puts up my videos. That's it. I don't go on there and complain and talk and all of those things. In the early days, I thought Twitter was quite good because you could have nice conversations with people. But I've soon learned that if you say anything, you'll get 1 million people coming back on your back going how awful you are, and you just think, it's full of hatred. I don't know why people use it. Absolutely no idea.
That is social media low, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I try to avoid all social media. I mean, I put my links on stuff, but that's it. I maintain mostly the admin maintain the Bald Explorer group, and they're very good at that, and I appreciate them. But I just find, I have enough issues with me opening my mouth in this show. And in the Bald Explorer, occasionally, if I say, are you scared about the manipulation? And suddenly, I have enough trouble with trolls. I don't need to go on social media and open my gob, because we're not allowed to think individually anymore. And people just go, he's got a different opinion. That's it. He doesn't think the way we think. Fair enough. But no, you don't think the way everybody else thinks. You've had it.
We had a conversation about that, though, didn't we? When we had that chat with, and I think there's a whole band of keyboard warriors out there that just spend all their time looking at things and then going, I don't like that, and then putting a post on there to say I don't like that. Well, actually, if you didn't like it, don't watch it in the first place.
Exactly. Thing is, I think these keyboard warriors who've had a year off on furlough with nothing else to do and going, I'm just going to get on YouTube and put some nasty comments on a few things. When they go back to work, we may find that sort of 90% of the trolls disappear overnight, because suddenly they're going, oh, crikey, work. I've forgotten how to do work. I know how to type because I've spent so much time typing offence. And then they'll probably all get sacked because they're so used to typing offensive comments to people and telling them how awful they are. Suddenly there they are working for a corporate again, trying to be squeaky clean, and their boss will say, oh, can you send a message to this company that we deal with, £100,000 a year? Just tell them politely that we'd like to reduce our order. Oh, yeah, you sodding stupid people, we don't want to deal with you ever again. No, can you put it a bit more polite than that? Yeah, F off. No, sorry. You're unemployable. A year off, you don't know how to do it anymore, you silly troll. Sort of how it's... He's having another laugh at me, aren't you?
Well, no, I'm not laughing. I'm laughing with you.
I know you are. I know.
You need to understand the difference. I'm laughing with you.
Yes, I do.
I think you're totally right. Because
I'm just trying to be entertaining. That's all I'm trying to be. As people know, this is why I said at the beginning of the show. Some people take me at face value. I always find it very difficult because all I'm doing is trying to entertain people. Sometimes it's serious. A lot of the time it's semi-serious, and I'm just having a laugh, and that's really what it's about. And those people who take me too seriously, they get a bit worried, and then that's when the emails come in, and you think, oh, for goodness sake, get a life. Please get a life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's the Vobes show.
So reflecting on the past few days,
yes.
What's your view on the whole royal family situation?
Oh, what, Meghan Markle?
Yeah.
Meghan Markle.
Markle.
And well, I think obviously Piers Morgan and Meghan Markle should get together and do a show. They should do that should be the next show. The Markle and, what's his name? Morgan and Markle.
Morgan and Markle.
Morgan and Markle would be a fantastic show. Who wouldn't tune into that? That would be fantastic.
Everyone's asking me to turn you up, but I can't because if I turn my iPad up, the echo coming back would be.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's the Meghan and Markle show.
Yeah.
Not Meghan and Markle. Morgan. What's his name? Piers Morgan.
Morgan and Wise.
Morgan and Markle.
Morgan and Markle.
I think that'd be hilarious. I think it'd be hilarious.
They could have Eric popping up every now and then.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, of course. And then Harry would have to come in and to just sit meekly at the side every now and then. Just cut to Harry. He could be. He could do the weather. Because I know Piers likes the weathermen, and he could have the weatherman over there. We said, well, we've got a bit of racial thing in there because he's ginger. So we'll have him doing the weather, and it's whether or not he's going to say anything.
Well, he would go. He would come on and he would go, oh, yes, we've got a bit of a red front coming in tomorrow. It's going to be a bit ginger in Sussex, possibly.
Well, he could certainly say, well, we were going to have a rainstorm, but of course, unfortunately, I've been cut off by my father, so I can't tell you where it's going to be. You see, I no longer have any money. So that's
because he won't take my calls.
Exactly. But obviously, everything that we say, of course, recollections are not always right. Anyway, enough of this gay banter. I must show another video before we end the show.
It's been nice talking to you again.
It's been lovely to talk to you. Do call again.
Yeah, will do.
Can't wait to get in your shop and eat all those sweets.
Well, I've got chocolate. I've got chocolate to die for, so you'll be in your element.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it.
Talk soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There we are. Lovely Steve Baker there, all the way from Felpham. And he's got a shop opening in Worthing fairly soon, the Mr. Sims Confectionery Shop, which is very lovely. And if you were one of those employees who've worked there and you're now out here because you've eaten all the produce that it's a shame on you. You should have sent some to the Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi. Not that I eat much confectionery these days because I'm trying to stay on a sugar-free diet. But there we are. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't come to the end of the show because we've got 2 more videos to get through. So it's now we saw Mark Donny McLeod playing his What's Name, but before we get to that, we're going to have a bit more What's Name from lovely Mark Donny McLeod. But Sean sent in a Discovery video, and he's sitting there thinking he's not going to show it this time, is he? He says, that's the second time, the second show he's not tried to show it. I am, Sean. I am. We are going to go. Sean's got a fantastic Discovery one. You've got to watch this. So sit back and enjoy.
Hello everybody, welcome to Bexhill Old Town. I'm Sean, and I'm just going to take you a little tour of what's called the Manor House. It used to be known as the Manor House of Bexhill, one of the oldest buildings or sites really. It's now called the Manor Gardens, but it's been the Manor Barn, the Manor House. It's been a big place for about, well, since the 12th century, and I'll take you around what remains of the ruins, but the gardens, even though it's the 6th of March, just before sunrise, so we may see a nice sunrise, and just the parts of the building, and obviously a lot of the garden, which is still in its springtime phase. Anyway, off I go. And this is what's left of the manor house. To the right here is what's called the manor barn, and used to be a ballroom in its day, and still used, still a functioning hall. Manor barn entrance. And we go under the entrance, and here is what's left of that fantastic manor house. We're actually in what would be the building now. The old doors, very low of course. As we go through, we can see various rooms that would have been occupied. At its time, in the 12th century, it had 7 reception rooms, 19 bedrooms, I think 8 bathrooms, a couple of cottages, a garage of some sort, and this was the manor house here, demolished in 1967, sadly. The land itself was originally purchased, I suppose, by King Offa, and then granted to a number of people, mainly the church. And I think the first person that it was granted to was Oswald, Bishop of Chelsea, and then Elizabeth I gave it to Thomas Sackville. It's a famous name around Bexhill. A lot of property owned by the Sackvilles, well, around this whole area of Bexhill, which used to be originally known as Bixlea, Bixlea. So the whole town itself, which is really the original part, is here. This is the old town. So it's, you know, a good 1,000 years old, coming up to anyway. And the next oldest building, of course, is St Peter's Church, which is just across the way. Let's have a look at the gardens. Thanks for watching, folks. See you next time on the Discovery Walk with me.
Fantastic stuff. Really, really lovely. Did you say King Arthur gave it to whoever it was? Did you say King Arthur? You know, lovely. I like that. Of course, as I was looking at that, I was thinking, I wonder in the future how many people will be walking around the old Vobes house, you know, when it's just a derelict ruin, and they'll be going and sitting there on public seats going, oh, yes, this used to be the Vobes mansions, this little terrace here. In this was the studio at one time. Rain will be pouring down and dogs will be... Oh, hello, we've got another phone call. That was unexpected. Let's say hello to the caller calling in on the Vobe Show. Hello, caller, calling in on the Vobe Show.
Just a very quick one, because I know this time's going on. It's Sean from London.
Oh, is it Sean from London? Hello, Sean from London.
A friend of mine sent out a tweet on Monday while watching the Meghan interview.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see the tweet, but from what I've been told, she basically said that she didn't believe what was coming out of her mouth. And today she had to resign as chairman of the organisation.
You're joking.
No. She had, and when they issued a statement through the official company website, they pointed out that what she did was on her personal Twitter, and it had nothing to do with the organisation. But yes, there's been a bit of an uproar over the last few days.
So what was what she was in a public company?
It was it was a guild.
A guild, okay. I mean,
an organisation where people who work in the gardening industry sign up to.
Right, and so she just, on her own personal account, said, "I don't believe that she."
Happened to be watching it, and I think she said something like, "Oh well, I don't believe it."
No, don't believe a word of it.
So she deleted the tweet, and then she apologised the next day, and then what I saw were people saying, "Oh, you're only apologising because you've got caught," and then today issued a statement to say that she's gone.
She's gone. Just like that.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, it's just, I mean, what is that? This is where I think it's just gone bonkers. You're not allowed to have your own opinion.
If it was on the company's
Yes, absolutely.
Twitter,
yeah.
I'd get it.
Yes, you say you can't use that for your own personal view because that's not the view of the company. One gets that.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was a bloke, wasn't there a bloke in who was a shelf filler or something in Asda? And he just happened to say something about I can't remember now the grooming gangs or something that was going on, and said, isn't it disgusting that it's a groom? And then like that he was axed because he can't, and that was on his own personal thing, and of course anybody who says anything like this on their own personal thing who's looking for a job, they've had it. I mean, I'd never be able to get a job because I've said too many things.
Well, I actually had an email off. I can't remember an email or a direct message of somebody because I had liked a tweet that Nigel Farage had put out. And because I know people in TV, they happen to be working on a show that he was on. And sometimes you heart things to support the person because they're in that job. Or,
yes.
I'll show a bit of support.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I then got a message saying, I can see that you are supporting to come out of the EU while I'm out of here. Goodbye. I don't want to support you. Because Twitter had done something like, Sean has liked this tweet. Do you want to like it? That type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I then set up another Twitter. So I had one for my gardening and then one for personal. But I've shut that one down now, and it's like it all goes on to the same one. And if you don't like it, then sod off. But I remember in school, if you didn't like what somebody said, you argued for 5 minutes, and then you were sharing sweets 20 minutes later.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so bizarre. People are not allowed to have a opinion on anything. And if you don't have, you can have, this is what I was saying at the beginning, diversity and everything else, but not in opinions, which makes a mockery.
If I'd taken offence at half the things that you've said, I'd be gone by now.
Yes, I know.
Showing my phone number all over the world on 2 or 3 occasions.
And has any big TV moguls rung you up on the back of seeing your number on my show?
Well, I've got a TV series coming out soon.
Yeah, there you go. You can't. No, that's right. Because I bet the TV,
the Sean Show,
the Sean Show, the Sean Show Redemption, and I'm sure that many TV moguls have watched this show and gone.
So I can understand why Piers Morgan went.
Yes, because he was asked to apologise, wasn't he? And why should he? I mean, I don't particularly like him.
But it was all about that the mental health campaigns that ITV have been running for the last 18 months. Wasn't in line with what he said. So they said to him, will you apologise on the show? And he said, no, I'm off. But what a lot of people aren't aware of is his contract was coming to an end in a few months anyway.
Right, so he wasn't losing anything.
It's not as if he's walked out on a job, Plus he's got enough money, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, golly, I mean, people like that, he'll get another job. So as we said, it's the Morgan and Markle show is coming up. By the way, I've
Mill is-
trademarked that. Whilst you were chatting, I trademarked that. Morgan and Markle. I've marked that now because I think, that would make a good spitting image. That would make a great spitting image show.
Well, I'm hearing on the QC.
Yes.
So keep this under,
It's just you and me. Just you and me. All the other rest of the audience have been so offended by everything I've said, so nobody else is listening. So you go on.
Well, apparently Piers Morgan has been offered a job with GB News.
Oh, right. That's a new station coming up.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't surprise me, you see. It takes something like that. So he probably knew that was coming, that somebody like that.
Well, yes, that's what I'm sort of trying to say. It's like,
yes.
People think all this is spur of the moment.
Yes.
But they're dark forces. If he's going to go into another job, it helps if there's a bit of
huge publicity,
controversy around him.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right, because, somebody like Piers Morgan, who's gone through, like Bonnie was saying earlier about all of the phone tapping and all of that, he's not going to go off and have a storm over something as minor as a minor royal. It needs to be something, unless, of course, as you say, he wants the publicity because he's going to go, he's got this job, it's already in the pipeline, doesn't surprise me at all. And that's how it works,
Well, I left Good Morning Britain when it was daybreak because I used to work there.
Yeah, I didn't like it when you were on, actually, to be honest with you.
Well, he was
so rude.
I was always given the stories about cats and things,
Yeah. And finally,
he was brought in,
yes.
and one of his remits was to do something that would get them that would get the show in the Daily Mail.
Right.
And that's what he's done. He knew that the second he was going to walk out, he'd be in the Daily Mail.
Yes.
Because he's the editor at, what's the word? Editor
at large.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I mean, people fall for all of this. They fall for all of it. Listen, talking of editing at large...
Anyway, I better go because time's going on.
I just want to quickly take care.
Right.
Nice to talk to you. There we are. Sean James Cameron there with the dirt, dishing the dirt up. That's absolutely fascinating. And, of course, I think he's absolutely right. I think Piers Morgan knew exactly what he was doing and he picked the right moment and he executed it marvellously. Whether you like him or not, he's been around for so long that he knows exactly what he's doing. Right, we're going to have a quick look at some pictures and we've got Mark Donny McLeod to give us a musical outro, which is fantastic, so don't go away. Wonderful Robert Brailsford down there it's in Bars. Hello, Richard. It's down in Brailsford here. I've been doing some stuff. What has he got here on this note here, Brailsford? Railway rambles and Radstock. You've not been there, have you, Richard? No, I haven't been there. Well, you should go there then. I know I will. You just get on and show my pictures and stop taking the mickey out of my accent. All right. Keep your hair off. So here's some random pictures that were sent in today from lovely Robert Brailsford. Thank you, Robert. We always love random pictures. This is the new style that is not just the new style. It's a lovely one, that one. I did all that graffiti myself. Did you? Yes. And here's a lovely tunnel. You've got to remember, these are railway rambles, ladies and gentlemen. Bit more of Robert's wonderful artwork on the side there. And here, this is a bridge with a sign on it that we unfortunately can't read. But look at all this. This was done by the Normans, I think. That's the chevrons around the door. It may have been the Normans or it may have been the Percys. I can't remember. And here is a bit more of this. I don't know whether it's an aqueduct or the other duct. What do you get? An aqueduct and a viaduct. That's it. But the brambles, look at the lovely brambles. Didn't they do well? Thank you so much, Robert. Sorry I'd taken the mickey out of it. But it's absolutely just first class. And he's probably going to bash me over the head at some point. Mike Stevens, who's not invisible, says, no, we are getting closer to them. Just making sure that Mike doesn't think that he's invisible. And finally, we're going into the video box for one last occasion on today's show, with our musical melody from the one and only, where's the button? There it is. The one and only Mark Donny McLeod. Oh, hello. I've just clicked a button here. That's my Windows button. You know, the one that the scammers always try to get you to press. Mark Donny McLeod is going to now introduced us to Hannah last time, if you remember, but he didn't give me the name of this one. So, Mark, you'll have to tell us what this one is called. because she's a lovely mover. Let's have a little listen.
Hi, Richard. Hi, posters. This is all about this thing here and alternate tuning. Brick tune, this thing. This has all been turned down. Ooh. So that's gone down to, what was it, a D thing? A D. It's just fun, you know, a bit of fun. But it just allows you to play in deeper tones, mate. Nice and rich. That's enough of that. Have a good day. Stay safe. See you soon. Be good.
I have no idea, ladies and gentlemen. I just play them. I just play them. I have no idea. They just come in and I go, yeah, that's Mark. We'll shove it on. He knows what he's doing. Vera, I think Sean James Cameron says you should call it Vera. I was going to say Claudette, but, you know, somebody give the instrument a name. It would be lovely. Anyway, that's it. Jazz chords almost, says Station Master. Warming up, Mark. Thanks for that. There we go. It's been a strange old evening, hasn't it? But good fun at the same time. Thank you so much for tuning in. My thanks to Tarquin, to Bernie, to Sean and Mark Donny McLeod, and to Robin, Pete, or Colonel Craig Ratty, as he's known, and Robert Brailsford for your photos. To our lovely photographs, phone calls, rather, from Alan Sandel, Sean James Cameron, and the other one who rang in, Steve Baker. There we are. Came into my head. And to all of you guys out there typing away, to Judith and Julie, who's been moderating, and anybody else who I haven't mentioned, thank you so much. Midweek, it's Thursday tomorrow. Don't forget to go and vote. What for? I don't know. They always say that. Don't forget to vote. Don't forget to turn the television off. Don't leave it on all night. That's the way it works. Anyway, it's been lovely. I shall be back. There's a lovely Board Explorer walk for you tomorrow to ignore. And then the lovely Julia hopefully will be back on Friday looking after the show, because I'm going to storm out under a huge amount of propaganda, no doubt. Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you so much. It's been fun. But until next time, take care, look after yourselves, and ta-ta, bye-bye. Don't forget the thumbs up. Arrivederci. Bye-bye. Woo. Oh. Do that again. Arrivederci. Woohoo. See, worked that time.